It's okay. Not everyone is to looking good in a shayvel. Anyhow, Ma'amar Chaf Gimel. So we'll give a recap of just in general what we did until now from Ma'amar Yud Zayin. From Ma'amar Yud Zayin, we've been discussing people that they're business people, and they feel that they really need to work very hard and not dedicate time to Avodas Hashem. So we said one complaint they might have is if it's already decided on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, why is it that I need to start putting in effort now, that on a regular day-to-day basis? As in, that is to say that if it's already decided on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, then I just need to make a keli for now. But there's no inyan of learning and davening, etc. that's going to add. So we explained that actually everything comes down according to what you do every day, every moment. Whether or not it's defined as a judgment is not something that necessarily falls into this. But ultimately, it goes by every single day, and every single day you need to learn Torah and you need to do mitzvahs. But mainly, I would say the main point of what we've been discussing is, what do you want to say for? You want to say for? So mainly, the main point is that the notion of how the air comes down, the notion of how the hashpah comes down, and all of the details surrounding that, that's what we've been discussing mainly, and that's been the main point. So now we're going to start going. I'm not going to say we're going to leave this topic, but we're going to start discussing more directly. We said that things come down in a gashmistic sense, and we're going to start discussing how things get solidified in a sense, how they get crystallized into gashmias from ruchnias. So we're going to be discussing that concept a little bit. So, Ma'amar Chaf Gimel, Parak Aleph, a new subject basically. V'hinei li shachasdanim shachamata be'elam hazeh tzarich li yisal yidei asas v'res dasiya. Seeing as the chesed which is drawn down into this world needs to be through the 10 spheres of Asiyah, dafka the kelim and levoshim chulu, and it needs to come down dafka through kelim and levoshim, as we've explained before, so that the hashpah, so that the sustenance should take a physical form. So we can understand the concept of Hashem blessing you in everything that you will do, which is what we said before, the notion that you need to make a keli, etc., etc. So now we're going to say something very surprising. In Kuntreis Umayan, Shara Tefillah, in Shara Tefillah, Chavanas Parshas Tamid, about the Kavanah of the Parsha of the Tamid, Al Pasuk Tzavas Bnei Yisrael, on the pasuk that says that you should command the children of Israel, we say every day in Parshas Talmud, we say that you should command the children of Israel and say to them, my sacrifices, etc., etc., something that we say every day. So we say Tzav is v'gematria Kel Adnai, that it's v'gematria the two names of Kel and Adnai. That Kel is 31 and Adnai is 65, and you add them together, you get 96, and that is a gematria of Tzav.
Is that the same Etz Chaim that the Tanya references quite often?
Pre-Etz Chaim.
What's the difference?
There are two different formed by the same author.
Oh, by the same author. Similar topics that they discuss?
They're both Kabbalistic.
Okay.
So we say about this, so Kel Adnai v'hu b'Asiyah, and this is a shame of Asiyah. This is a shame which relates very closely to the world of Asiyah. And this is why our rabbis of blessed memory tell us, Ein tzav ela avoda zara. That tzav refers to avoda zara, which is a very surprising thing. It's a very interesting thing. That so firstly it says in Masechah Sanhedrin that it says that Hashem commanded Adam, saying that from all of the trees of the garden you should eat, and from the trees of and from the tree of knowledge of good and evil you shouldn't eat. And the Chachamim say that each word in that pasuk refers to a different one of the Shem Mitzvahs B'nai Noach. And they say the word Tzav, the notion of a commandment from Hashem, refers to Avodah Zarah. But more than this, it's actually Tzav is the name of an Avodah Zarah, as mentioned in the book of Hosea. So in Tzav el Avodah Zarah, and it's brought in Midrash of, I think it's Alpha based the Rabbi Akiva, that Tzav is the name of an Avodah Zarah. No, sorry, I skipped a few words. And the reason why, I don't think that this reason is given in Kuntreis Umayan. I don't remember from when I looked it up. But the reason why Tzav refers to Avodah Zarah is because Avodah Zarah nurtures and gets its sustenance from kel adnai. As we know, everything has a spiritual source. Everything receives vitality and sustenance. We've discussed before how Hashem gives things kalach yad. He gives it from. He gives it like in a way that you would give to someone that gives over the shoulder that they don't want to give, but they give it anyway. And so there is sustenance that is given to avoda zara, and avoda zara receives from the name of Hashem. That is in the hat that you would say Hashem wears is the hat of kel adnai. So according to what we're saying, it doesn't make sense what the Chachamim said that tzav is avoda zara. After the fact that kel adnai is megamatria tzav, named shemis alinim, they're spiritual names. Even though the klipos of Asiyah Taka receive their sustenance from kel adnai, we call mokim. Nevertheless, heim altzmam, heim shemis hakadosh baruch hu, they're names of Hashem. And if this is the case, mahu inyan ein tzav elachulu. How could you say that tzav is only avoda zara? What does this mean?
So it's saying it's only, or it's saying
ein tzav. Tzav is not only. It's only avoda zara.
Only, okay.
So which is a very interesting thing. What does this mean? Acha inyan, or rather, the concept is the hine. Inyan avoda zara. What is the concept of avoda zara? The concept is it's the notion of bowing to the sun and the moon. Not specifically the sun and the moon, but those are two classical examples. That is because from them we receive sustenance. As it says that it says about in the bracha that Moshe Rabbeinu gave to Yosef. That you should have from the delights of the sun and from the lights of the produce of the moon. So the sun and the moon have what to do with agricultural cycles, and they give us sustenance in a sense. And because a person considers them to be the source of the hashpah, that is why a person would bow down to them and to serve them. Over MS, and in truth, this is a grave mistake. Even though taka the hashpah, we get the hashpah through them. MS, in truth, they're only messengers of the hashpah. They're only messengers of the sustenance. They do not have the ability to do bad or good on their own. They're only the shluchim with which the hashpah, with which the sustenance is sent. They don't have the ability to do anything. It seems like they just repeated that. I don't know. We'll see. It seems like they just repeated because the words that I thought I was going to say is Shehem Rak Kigarzam Miyad HaChetzav. I see that's the next. Did it repeat those words? Shluchi Hashpah Levada Yim Yad Lahar. They did not say Shehem Rak. Shluchi Hashpah Levada. Yeah, they just repeated the line. Okay. Anyhow, Shehem Rak Kigarzam Miyad HaChetzav. They're only like what's the name of the tool? Like an axe, but I think it's like a hatchet more. I don't know they translated it over here.
Bow?
What?
I wish I would bounce.
They translate it as an axe. So it's like an axe in the hands of a wood chopper. We had a chitzuv with the one that chops it, the one that chops with it. The axe can't do anything. Rather, the craftsman is able to build by means of the axe. And so in a similar way, all of the stars and the constellations, they're only like an axe, by way of which we're able to receive our sustenance. But in truth, the one that gives the hashpah, I don't know if there's a proper English word for I guess you would say the sustainer, the one that gives the sustenance. The one that gives the sustenance, it's the godliness. But it's brought down into the world through the constellations. But they, on their own, do not have the ability to affect anything. And therefore, it doesn't make sense to consider them as anything at all whatsoever. As it's written, will you praise the axe and over the person that cuts with it? Or will the axe be boastful over the one that cuts with it? So, by way of example, a person that sees a wonderful building, a great and glorious building. Will you say, wow, that's a very good axe that made the building? That he'll say, how praiseworthy is this axe with which the building was built? Or he'll say, or he'll say, how great is the building that the axe built, that the axe built. He'll praise the craftsman, the one that built the building. And the building is called after the name of the person that built it. Not to say that it's named after him per se, but to say that the praise for the beauty of the building will go to the craftsman. Even though the craftsman built it with an axe, we call mokim in a garzin nechshav l'me'uma. The axe is not considered anything. Rather, it's the craftsman that made with the axe. This is also how it is with the sustenance that comes in vitality and sustenance in the world. Who is the one that gives the sustenance? It's godliness. But it's drawn through the mazalis. It's drawn down through the constellations. For a reason which we will explain. That's Hashem. Godliness, it is the one that sustains by means of them. It is the main thing. And the constellations are not considered anything. They're not even considered a secondary aspect. They're not considered like the assist. I don't know if you have the concept of assist in sports over here.
Yeah.
So they're not even the assist. The same way that when you ask who built the building, you're not going to say the builder built it, and also he was assisted by the axe. The axe isn't a person that we said that we're going to say that the axe built the building. So this is also how it is with the constellations. They're not even something which is tuffle. They're not even like assistants. They're literally considered nothing. After the fact that they're only messengers, and there is no ability that they have on their own, at all. They don't have any essence. There's nothing to them. Sometimes they show above how the mazalis themselves don't actually have any ability. I need to sneeze for a second. So sometimes it's shown how the mazalis actually don't have any ability on their own. Like Mitzrayim, they were judged by the 10 Bakis, and their avoda zara didn't help them. They served the constellation of Aries, Latilom, and they didn't save them. And their service of the constellation of Aries didn't save them. But Adarabah, and even more so, that Hashem did justice to all of the gods of Egypt. It was man Chorban at the time of Chorban bias. Hashem changed up the order of the constellations and of the ministers above, because they're only messengers for the sustenance. They're only agents by which the sustenance is delivered. And godliness is what sustains through them. Any questions?
I still don't fully understand the concept of Kel and Hashem's name being equivalent to avoda zara.
We're explaining that. This is going to take a while to explain.
Oh, okay. So
that's going to be the subject for a while.
Okay, got you. And it will then tie into how we have a kli for.
It will then tie into the notion of making a kli, and it will tie into the notion of the ashpal coming down,
okay.
And ultimately, how really you need to set aside times for learning Torah.
Okay, so we're just in the middle. That's why I'm.
We're in the middle. This is going to go for a while.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions?
No.
Nothing about the constellations, or I don't know.
The constellations, I think we'll get into. It's still somewhat foreign to me, but
no, we're not going to go too far into it. It's a very surface level thing. Every kind of constellations they have. I mean,
I know the ideas of mazal, like when you're born, you have mazal.
Yeah. So it ties into that.
Okay.
Basically.
But in this case, it refers to an entire nation. It's referring to Mitzrayim, isn't it?
Mitzrayim serve as a mazal color, and everything related to sheep. There's a connection between the mazal and you would say that the mazal has its place, that you could see it in the sky. You could see its loftiness would be in the constellation of Aries, which is, I guess, vaguely shaped like a sheep. I know that a lot of things got shifted, right? Stars move over time, so I would imagine maybe back in the day it looked more like a sheep. I don't know. I'm not a Bucky in how they decided, but apparently it has what to do with sheep. They knew better than I did. They had real magic and stuff like that. And they also worshipped Gashmastic sheep. I mean, it was all part of the same notion. Because if I remember the Rebbe, I think that he explains the concept a little bit, and how when the Yidden made the Egel Azov, the reason why they made the Egel was because they thought, I mean, so a whole convoluted thing about why they thought this, but ultimately what their thought process was that the Mitzrayim worshipped Mazal Tala, they worshipped sheep. And they made a calf because the next constellation, they said, and this is going to be the new power in the world. The next constellation was Taurus, which is a bull. So they made a young bull as their avoda zara. But the point is that that's how so they worshipped the sheep and everything sheep adjacent and whatnot. And Ataka, there was some kind of power. We're going to see what the kind of power. I mean, we said what the kind of power it is. That it's a conduit by which the Ashbal can come down. They're like agents for the Ashbal. But ultimately, it's not, we're Yidden, we're above that. In Masal Yisrael.
They would have really liked Ugg boots then.
What?
They would have liked Ugg boots.
I don't know. What
you don't know what Ugg boots are?
I know what they are. I don't know what
They've
they're
got
made
sheep. The sheep.
I wasn't sure if it was sheep. I guess it makes sense. It makes sense. But down here in Australia,
that's why they're
New
so
Zealand right
comfortable.
next door. You can have leather that's also comfortable.
No, have you put Ugg boots on before?
Yeah.
They're the best.
It's the fur inside.
Yeah, it's like the greatest thing ever.
Again, it's the fur inside. I don't know the leather that's on the outside.
Well, mine's not leather. Mine's just like fuzzy material. The leather
It's
the
leather.
inside.
Leather is really actually fuzzy if you process it in a certain way.
Really?
Yeah. So, I wasn't sure. I know that the fuzz inside. Anyhow, Kel Adna v'Gematria Tzav. The name Kel Adna is v'Gematria Tzav. Shem Da'asiyah. It's the name of the world of Asiyah. Shtachaval Shemesh V'Yareach V'Mazali Shal Yadam Rakba Ashba Gashmis. Bowing for avoda zara is to the sun and the moon and the constellations because physical sustenance comes through them. Aval hamazalis atzmam, but the constellations themselves, in yechelim leila ashbiya v'leilim nei ashba. They have no ability to give or to give sustenance or to withhold sustenance. Ve'im rak garzim yalachitzav. They're only like an axe in the hands of a chopper. The one that chops with it. V'ashefea who alikus, and that which gives sustenance is godliness and retaining shadid hamarachis shalom mazalis. And with his will, Hashem is able to change up the orders of the constellation. As we said, it happened by Yetzias Mitzrayim and also happened by Churban Bayis. If we had time, maybe we'd go into the concept of why saying alikos and not alikim. But that's for another time, maybe.
Remind